everybody, it's Alan again, shortbaldandbearded.com. So today I'm going to show you how to make some chocolate nugget fat bombs. They're really good, get your fat intake up, a really rich chocolate. You almost feel like you're cheating, but they're really, really good. And they're very simple to make, just a very few simple ingredients with this. You've got your cocoa, coconut oil, some whipping cream, some almond butter, and some Splenda. That's pretty much it for this. Equal parts coconut oil and almond butter. For this recipe I'm using a cup of each. A third of a cup of whipping cream, a third of a cup of sweetener, and a third of a cup of cocoa. And we're just going to melt all these on the stove at a low heat. You don't want to go real hot because you don't want to scorch anything. Once it gets nicely melted and mixed in really well, you just put it in an ice cube tray and stick it in the freezer. And they keep really well. Just keep them in a Ziploc bag after you pop them out of the trays. Hit the spot. Get a little sweet fix without having to do a lot of production for it. 1 or 2 a night right before you go to bed. Makes you sleep good. Get up that fat content. Okay, so we're going to start with our coconut oil. Since we're doing a cup of almond butter, we're going to do a cup of coconut oil to go with it. Really healthy fat. Okay, so we've got our coconut oil in there. You can see. So now we're going to put our almond butter in there. Now I'm using some homemade almond butter. I just like it better. The flavor is much stronger than what you can buy in the store. You can buy it in the store. It's going to cost a lot more. If you make it homemade, you're going to save some money. Got all your control over what's going in this. If you buy it at the store, you're hoping somebody else has put the stuff in it you want to eat. A lot of the time there's hidden stuff. Some of it can be pretty gross. Okay, so now that we've got both of these in the pot, we're going to go ahead and put this on the stove and start breaking this down. It's a lot easier to mix up if you melt the coconut oil first. Just put the almond butter in with it because the almond butter was in the fridge, so it's a little bit hard. So I'm going to warm them both up a little bit before I add everything else to it, just to make it easier to mix. It's going to really turn into a very syrupy consistency when you start heating it up on the stove. Once you mix everything together, it's going to look a lot like chocolate syrup. With it being a lot like chocolate syrup, it's going to melt really easily. And then you just pour it into your ice cube trays. Now your coconut oil has a pretty low melting point, so it'll start melting down pretty quickly. Makes it a lot easier to mix. Makes this a really fast recipe. So as you can see, it really starts melting down fast. So we're going to mix it a little bit more before we add everything else to it. You can mix everything to start with. I just found it a lot easier to mix them a few at a time. It doesn't get as crowded in the pot, especially the coconut oil. If it's cold like it is today, it's a little bit chunky for me. It's a lot nicer to kind of break that up first. It just makes it stir a lot easier and mix a lot easier. To each his own. You find something that works for you, you can use a mixer or whatever you want to use with it. I just do it on the stove. It's a lot simpler, less dishes. Just a pot and a spatula. The suspense is killing me. Okay, we're in pretty good shape now. You can see that this is very much just a very watery consistency now, which is exactly what we were looking for. So now we're going to go ahead and add our cocoa, our whipping cream, and our Splenda. It's just a third of a cup of each. Once again, you might want to add them one at a time. It's just easier to mix them like that. And we're going to heat this up on the stove a little bit more anyway, just to help everything break down real good together. Alright, a cocoa. Obviously the unsweetened kind. We don't want to get into making chocolate milk here. And lastly, our whipping cream. That's going to give it a little bit of a creamy texture. Give us that milk chocolate with, well, I guess is it milk chocolate or is it creamed cocoa? I don't know. Whatever. All I know is it's good. The cocoa seems to be the thing that's the driest, so when you go to mix it, that's really going to clump up a lot for you, so it's going to take a little bit of work. You can see there, it looks almost like a crumb cake in there right now. But that's all because of the chocolate, the cocoa. Okay, so we got it started. Now we're going to put it back on the stove to get it warm again. Okay, so I think we're in pretty good shape now. We've got it very soft and very soupy. So you can see there, very liquidy. Okay, so now we just pour it into our mold. You can use silicone molds, you can use paper baking cups. I just use ice cube trays, they're easy. Everybody's got them, you don't have to buy them. Reuse them over and over again. And these are going to set up pretty quick once you put them in the freezer. 15-20 minutes probably, they're ready to go. You can leave them in the ice cube trays, just pop them out when you want one. Or you can pop them all out at one time, put them in a Ziploc bag. They keep just as well. Keep them in the fridge or the freezer. I found they're better out of the freezer, but you know, I like frozen Reese's cups too, so whatever. Some people don't like them quite as hard. I like thinking I'm eating a big Hershey bar. Because let's face it, we miss that kind of stuff when we're on keto. So this makes you feel like you're really getting something that you probably shouldn't have, but you know, surviving keto and being successful at keto has a lot to do with compromises. You don't want to feel like you're not getting to enjoy things that you used to enjoy. So little recipes like this, little desserts and things, they kind of soften the blow a little bit, make it a little more tolerable. You don't feel like you're being deprived as much. And you can make these as small or as big as you want. I'll make them a little bit small. My daughter likes to eat them too, so she's young. We don't want to give her a big chunk. Emergency room isn't on my agenda for the day. And I sure don't want to be explaining to the doctor why my daughter has a big chunk of chocolate stuck in her neck. And you can cut this recipe in half if you really want to. Just use one tray. I just use two. Because I don't like to cook a whole lot. If I can do more at one time, I'll do more at one time. Okay, so once you've got these in the ice cube trays, we just stick them in the freezer, wait about 20 minutes, and we'll see what we got.